congregations to see him as a role model, and that's why they heed his call to come on Sunday. So we'll reach out to people like that who have the capacity to effect change on a large scale. We'll get to that. You see, you must take things step by step. We first of all articulate these messages, articulate all these things together, and reach out to people. We'll promote the program just like we are doing. Then we'll also take it a step further by meeting people, like I said, the role models, our leaders who have the capacity to effect change on a large scale, because the people are more likely to believe in what they say and what they do. Like you said, we can talk the talk, but they have the capacity to effect action, to effect change on a large scale. So we'll reach out to them, and I believe that, look, everyone, I think the time has come for us to change, because we cannot afford to allow Nigeria to burn while we're watching. What kind of future, what Nigeria are we going to leave for our children? Because we're living now in a state where nothing seems to be working, and we are not even sure what is going to happen 10 years from now. But do you know we can prepare a future for the younger generation? We can pass a way of life, a way of doing it right to them, so that their own future and the time they will get to this stage that we are will not be as difficult as this.
Are people receptive?
Yes. So far we've been encouraged. We've been encouraged because one of the problems we have over time is that Nigerians are passionate when they articulate the challenges facing this country. But the problem, again, is that after discussing this thing, nobody wants to take the next step, because we are comfortable in our comfort zone. We have our jobs, and we say, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't just leave my job. But somebody is coming out to say, yes, I can give that time. And if you don't give that time, honestly, a section of the country is beginning to be ungovernable now. This same where you are that you think is comfortable may no longer may not be comfortable in some times.
All right, let's take this step. We'll come back and continue with this one. We'll have to go for the headlines, and Melinda Kelame is here with it. Good morning, Melinda.
Good morning, Chamberlain. These are the headlines. The Senate has accused the executive of withdrawing money from the federal government special funds account from 2002 to 2012 without following due process. The chairman, Senate Committee on Public Accounts, Senator Ahmed Lawan, who presented a report at plenary, detailed the various withdrawals made by the federal government from the various special funds accounts. And the federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to provide quality and transparent leadership in spite of the criticism by the opposition. An official in the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Ferdinand Agu, who made the promise in Abuja at a meeting of information managers, says the government's commitment to transparency accelerated the passage of the Freedom of Information Act to enable Nigerians ask questions about governance. And the House of Representatives has directed its committees on justice and aviation to investigate the circumstances surrounding the grounding of an aircraft belonging to the Rivers State government and report to the House in 2 weeks. Moving the motion, Mr. Ahmed Idris from Plateau State alleged that the whole affair is political. And on the foreign scene, a general strike against tough austerity measures is underway in Greece, with trade unions calling for mass mobilization of protesters. The organizers are demanding an end to spending cuts and tax rise. And those are the headlines. Sunrise Daily continues now.
Oh, yes, indeed. Thank you, Melinda. Well, getting back to getting towards an effective workforce, when you hear that kind of news, for instance, where the Senate tells you, even though there are different figures, but about 1.51 trillion naira has been mismanaged by the federal government from 2002 to 2012. When you hear the CBN tell you that they're pursuing a single-digit inflation rate or single-digit interest rate, but in the meantime we'll get double-digit every time they say that, and then you hear all sorts of things. What encourages you to keep this message going on?
Well, we're not daunted by the enormity of the task. Rather, we're motivated by the desired outcomes. I tell you this, people do certain things because there's nothing, there's no penalty for certain things. We have laws that are not effective. It's not as if they're not there, but I tell you, it's the people that strengthen the laws. Going by Chamberlain's, Sulaiman's example, that Nigerians, the same Nigerians, they travel abroad. For the period of time they spend in this country, they obey laws. they further strengthen the systems in that country, because if you queue, you are orderly. What you've just succeeded in doing, directly or indirectly, if you don't know that that is what you're doing, is that you're further making that society better. The same set of Nigerians will come back, and right there at the airport, they have no issues, talking to one official, jumping the queue, creating rowdy scenes and all that. And then the question is, what must have been wrong with this man? Is attitudinal. The problem is perception. Because you feel here, I can get away with certain things. It's perceptional. That if I do this.
Are we also thinking of reward? Because of the man or woman who, let's say the officials who actually carry out some of these functions and in some of the establishments or agencies, and you try to do things right, knowing full well when you do things right, sometimes you just might end up being a pauper all the days of your service year.
Yeah.
So by the time you leave service, is that a good, befitting reward system that comes to this man that has done the right thing for his country and his people?
There's a system that will reward that man. And
do I have the system in place?
Yes, and what makes the system? You and I make the system, make up the system. The people drive the system. The structures are just there. The people need to fit into the structures to make it work. So if every man adopt, like I said, self-transformation, selfless service, if every man transform themselves and say, yes, I'm ready to make Nigeria, we must arrive at that state where we will say, yes, enough of this violence, enough of this chaos, enough of this bad news, enough of this corruption. We must transform our country and get it right. Honestly, you discover that as I have decided to take that step, you also, maybe after today, because I said, if I can reach one, I can teach one. If I can, if I'm able to convince you about my views and opinion, I'm sure if you buy it, you change. And you'll be able to also take the message. It's the message. We'll have to keep talking to ourselves. Even in the developed societies of the world, they keep talking to themselves. For example, how are they able to nip crime in the bud? How are they able to get their systems working? It's because they talk to themselves and somebody listens. But here, we don't have anything. Government is not even talking to people about what...
You think it's because they just talk? I mean, I think a lot of people would think it's the laws and the enforcement of those laws, so that even if you have it in your mind to be deviant, when you know that the law will catch up with you and deal fair and square with you, it will provide an incentive for you to stay in line.
You know that, okay, what you're now saying is that if we must make our laws as effective as that, then the people, the custodians of the law, must also self-transform themselves and say, yes, for now, these laws that are there that have not been effective, that we've made not to be effective, I think it's time for us to begin to look inward, look at ourselves, and let's transform and say, let the law, for example, policeman will say, yeah, what I'll do is that rather than let a criminal walk away, maybe as a result of a smile or something else which must have changed hands, no, I'll prosecute this case. When we look at those things, it will appear as if, where are we going to start? But honestly, like I tell you, we'll have to use opportunities like this. We have to use mediums like this. Back to what I'm saying earlier on, even in developed societies, they talk to themselves. For example, it's commonplace to find one way, through one medium or the other, people being told that if you as much as suspect your neighbor, just dial 911. That's talk. That's the same kind of thing we're saying. But here we need to talk and put action to it, and we need to be talking to everyone, including the leaders. We need to have a process.
But you must admit that it is very difficult to maintain eternal optimism in Nigeria.
Yes, it is. It is, because, like I said...
So how do you fire it? How do you keep it going?
We'll sustain it. Over time, it's not as if ideas like this have not been mooted in the past. But it's just, you have to first of all look at the motive of the people behind these ideas, and you have to look at the will of the people as well. Because if I do this, maybe after this interview, or after a while, because we've had situations where the champions of the people's cause in the past have had to abandon the cause midway, or even have used the people as a stepping stone to better their lot. And so you even have that. Nigerians, we've also had people being skeptical about us. Hey, someone who asked me, don't you think after a while, after 1, 2, 3 months, somebody gets to you, and would you not abandon on this, and we start seeing. And I tell you what, this is a Nigerian project. We are saying do it right, Nigeria. It's not. I'm not canvassing. I'm not saying you should support something, a cause that has something to do with me.
Do you work with any establishments, government agencies, because ultimately they all want results, like you, perhaps like the NOA and all such agencies?
Yes, we'll take this to agencies that share the same objectives with us, and we'll also take it to individuals who believe in the cause we're promoting, who want a better Nigeria, who want our people to behave well. Because you see, if we don't adopt positive attitudes, there's no way citizens of other nations will respect us. We've had instances where Nigerians have been segregated, Nigerians have been treated harshly, Nigerians have been dehumanized.
So is it a top-bottom approach?
It's whatever approach, top-bottom, bottom-top approach. It's everywhere, talking to everyone, asking everyone to please give Nigeria a chance and make this country great once again.
Well, if you were to do that in terms of politics, maybe Nigerians standing the heat in the kitchen, staying in the queue for as long as it takes to cast your vote, going out to get yourself registered. Did you do that at that time, and what was the response that you got?
You see, I keep saying it. It's mindset. The moment a man believes, I'm ready to make this country better, he goes the whole hog. He does what is needed to make Nigeria great. That means he takes part in the whole process, like you said. He doesn't see it as anything. He doesn't see it as punishing himself. Whatever, you see, for something to be good, we have to make sacrifices. And if that is a sacrifice you have to make in order to get to get the best man to the position of leadership, then you have to make it. And that is why we talk. If not, if things are done right, if Nigerians, including the workers that we're talking about today's May Day, a whole lot of them are disillusioned. Of course, obviously, if you work in an agency, in an establishment where you find the leadership of the organization, of the management, being engrossed or embroiled in one corrupt act or the other, nothing is being done. The thing is, like you said, there's no deterrent, there's no punishment. Somebody does this, we hear all this news every day. It's just being swept under the carpet. And I tell you what, it's because somebody is not doing something right. We all have to, the media must be alive too, because in societies where they've been able to rise above these challenges, you discover that everyone is doing what is expected, even the media. You won't just, you see, I want our media too. I understand there are a whole lot of challenges, salaries not being paid and all that, because like for every crime, it's been said that society prefers the crime and the criminal commits it. For example, if you don't pay your workers very well, you are exposing that man to corrupt tendencies. So if you don't empower the media here in this part of the world, how well would they be motivated to go the whole hog? For example, I'm sure we practice front page journalism here. Front page in the sense that the moment the news is off the front page, that's the end to it. But I know that we have professionals, people who are willing to work. But of course, in the absence of security, FOI bill, you know, even if you pass FOI bill, if there's no secure environment, atmosphere, you know, it's going to be dangerous.
All right. Well, I know it's a long haul, and you said you're in this for the long haul.
Yes.
All right. And Dixon Jubril, National Coordinator of Do It Right, thank you very much indeed for coming.